My name is Shannon Kaneshige and I'm Fringeish. I wanted to take a little bit of time today to talk about Pigeon Pose. Pigeon Pose is one of my favorite poses ever. I love it so much. I have issues with sciatica sometimes, and this asana is so helpful in making sure that that psoas is stretched out, making sure that I don't end up with a lot of that pain. But also, it just feels really good. It's a great hip opener, and it's a favorite. It's a favorite. So enough about that. But let's talk a little bit about entry and exit, because that seems to be what people have the hardest time with. I know in a lot of classes you're often taught to come into it from downward dog. I'm not a huge fan of that option, mostly because it's just difficult with everything that's going on in the midriff for me. You know, my leg hits my belly, hits my chest, hits my face, and it's just a mess. So I like to come into it off the mat, and I'm going to show you two options that are my favorites, along with the restorative version of Pigeon, because everybody needs a little restorative Pigeon, trust me. So for props that we might be using, if you have blocks, they might be helpful. A bolster, or if you don't have a bolster, maybe a couple of blankets folded into rectangular, like a long rectangle shape, or two bed pillows would also probably work, or like a couch cushion, anything long and cushy. So let's start on our knees. We won't be on the knees for too long, but if you like, you can grab a towel or blanket to kind of bring underneath the knees so that you can just be mindful of how we're feeling today. So we're going to start in tabletop, and I'm going to demo first without blocks, just so you get an idea of how blocks help me personally. So into tabletop, we're going to stretch out the right leg as if we're going to come into a one-legged plank. We're going to press up through the hands and foot, and then we're going to step the left foot underneath the knee. And this might take a couple tries to get it into place. When we can bring the left knee down, we can straighten that foot. So we have the option of staying in this position if this is what our mobility allows, or we might want to slide that leg back and come into pigeon this way. So we want to try to keep the weight evenly distributed over each hip. It might be helpful to take a block or a towel or blanket and bring it under the bum of the folded leg, just so that we can rest that hip so it's not hovering. Makes it much more comfortable. If we want to check our balance, we can raise the arms, see if we tend to tip towards one side or the other. It'll tell us if we're leaning. We can stay in this, we can come down to a folded version, or we can bring the arms to blocks for a folded version. So there's one way. And then to exit, the first thing we're always going to do, of course, is remove the block from under the hip. We have two options. We can either kind of reverse engineer, push up through the foot, slide the leg out, come back into our tabletop, or we can just come onto the bum and either slide the legs over, slide the back leg forward, whatever you need to do. So there's one option. And then I'm going to demo with the blocks, because for me the blocks give me height, which of course makes it much easier to come in and out of it. So coming into tabletop using the blocks, I'm going to come into my one-legged plank. I'm going to press up, and now I'm going to bring my foot as high as I feel comfortable with. Lower that back leg. Again, I might need to slide that back leg back a little bit. And then here we are. We're in our pigeon with a back bend. We're in a forward fold. We have a lot of options. So that's what I'm going to call the half plank variation for entering. And again, we can come out of this the same way, kind of reverse engineering or coming onto our side. The other option, I'm going to bring my blocks up for this, is to start kind of in hero pose or Tadasana on your knees, if you want to think about it that way. And I'll do the opposite leg. I'm gonna bring my left leg up. I'm gonna walk it towards, oh, I'm sorry, that's the same leg. I wanna bring my right leg up. I'm gonna walk it towards the other side of the mat. And then I'm gonna lay the knee down against the mat. So generally we want the knee slightly forward of the ankle. That helps protect the knee joint. And again, we have the option of staying up. We have the option of sliding the leg back. We can bring our block under our thumb. And then, again, we're in, we can stay in pigeon, you can come into the folded pigeon or swan, depending on what branch of yoga you're practicing. And here we go. And then to come out, we have the same options. So we can either reverse engineer it, right? Or we can still just slide onto the bum cheek and spin around. Restorative pigeon. Okay, so we're gonna grab our bolster or our pillows. We're going to place that down on the mat. Maybe a quarter of the way down. That usually gives you enough room. I'm short, so I can pretty much put it anywhere and I'm okay. But if you're taller, closer to the front of the mat, probably better. So for here, the best method of entry I found personally is the leg up version, moving it towards the side. Because if you do one of the other variations, you generally are going to have to lift the leg over the bolster, and that's a bit much. And I don't do the downward dog variation myself. So that one might be, if that works for you, that might be a good entry into this as well because your leg's already up in the air. But that's your choice. So I'm gonna bring my knee down. And I'm really just gonna try to find a nice comfortable position for it. So for me, it kind of goes right underneath the center. I like to have a fair amount of leg forward, but some folks I know like to have more of like the thigh meat on the bolster. It really depends on what's more comfortable for you. And so again, we have this option for a while, but generally when you're talking about a restorative pigeon, you're talking about a fold. And I highly recommend using blocks if you're not comfortable coming all the way down. It just makes it a lot more accessible. So you can have it on this setting, or if you don't have a lot of mobility in the back, you can have it on the highest setting as well. And we just you can hold this pose for anywhere from 3 to 6 minutes, probably a bit longer, but I think 6 minutes is a pretty good amount of time to be in pigeon. So again, we have the option to just kind of roll onto the side and pull the leg over, or if we want, we can kind of reverse engineer. I really like to use the blocks on the high position for this. Scoot the legs back, roll back onto the back leg, and swing the leg around. So there are some options for pigeon. I hope that they work for you. They are my favorite ways to come in and out. And yeah, but if you have any questions, put in the comment box below. You can always DM me at Fringeish on Instagram. And again, if you're interested in any of the other resources I have, like the Kapotasana library, or if you want to check out my public class schedule, go ahead and head over to fringeish.com. So yeah, I hope that you have a great day. I hope you have a wonderful practice, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks. Bye.